It's time to put on the old tinfoil hat because something about this latest political violence just doesn't seem right. Well, this is a follow-up on the story we've been talking about consistently over the Minnesota stuff. Arch, have you been following the Minnesota story and how the ebbs and flows of all this over the last 3-4 weeks?
A little bit, yes. It's an insurrection going on in America.
Yes. I saw your video about that, actually. You did a really, it's funny because you mentioned the insurrection nature of all this. And we were talking about how they just need to come in, sweep all these people up. And then, the next day, there was the phone call between the president and the governor, Walz, over there, and apparently everything was fine after that. They went in, and all of a sudden the police are now joining forces with the ICE agents, and they're all working together, and everything's hunky-dory, right? That's how it's gone.
Imagine that.
It's
the
amazing.
People who actually do crowd control is better at it.
Yes. Well, the exact same day that everything gets resolved or gets in a better spot in Minnesota, the exact same day we have more issues here, as one of the people that I'd like to rewind a little bit before all the unrest in Minnesota, before the people who got shot, before all that was the expose about fraud in Minnesota. And it was all built around the Somali daycares and the Somali healthcare and the Somali care. It was 89% of all the fraud is committed by this small group, right? Compounded with the idea that one of the representatives is Somalian, Ilhan Omar, right? And she was out. She's obviously been a focal point as her net worth has risen exponentially over the last few years, up to $30 million, which is quite a jump for having a good salary, not a great salary, but that's very impressive to see, really impressive. Well, last night, apparently, Ilhan Omar was at a town hall event in Minneapolis, and someone from the crowd sprayed her with something. Have you seen the video yet, Arch?
I have not.
Oh, well, let's see what happened here. Here she is speaking, and this is what we got.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
So guy walks up, sprayed her with something. Apparently it's stinky.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her. I need a napkin to know nothing. No, we will continue. No. You need to go get checked. No, we will continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it. You need to go get checked.
These fucking assholes.
Okay, so guy walks up and sprays her with something. You can see it being sprayed right there. Walks up, sprays it out of a bottle here. And it was just kind of, interesting. And the reaction to this was as you'd expect. If somebody sprays something on you, Asmongold, I think, said it right. Anyone doing this should probably go be put in jail, right? Instantly. I think that's a very common take. If you assault somebody, period, you should be thrown in jail. Pretty obvious take, I think, right there. I don't think that's a hot take by any mean. Now, with that said, for me personally, if I want to put on my conspiracy hat, I just think it's odd that the exact same day that everything kind of gets settled in Minnesota and the intention from civil unrest gets turned back to fraud, the person that may have benefited most from said fraud becomes the victim that night of something. I just think that's kind of interesting.
He reeks of Jussie Smollett.
And that's kind of it does look a little interesting. Now, what's also interesting, I don't know if you heard about this, but Omar also had a winery that was worth $5 million, and it just vanished out of nowhere. Did you hear about this at all?
How does a winery vanish?
Yeah. Good question, Blabs. Here's this from last night.
Another major asset she listed in her financial disclosure is this winery. What does a Somali know about wineryism? Okay, that was in 2023. That was worth, according to Ilhan Omar's own financial disclosure form, between $15,000 and $50,000. But on her financial affidavit from a year later, that same winery was listed at a value of between $1 and $5 million. Just real quick. Why does a Muslim own an alcohol company? I thought that wasn't a thing in Islam. Anyway, it gets weirder. Up until yesterday, Benny Johnson was able to find their supposed inventory bottles and all the things they had, their office location, and a bunch of other information on the business. But as of today, those sites are totally shut down. And any mention of their website has been wiped off the internet. I'm talking gone. The Wayback Machine, all these other crafty little archive sites, everything is gone. Like deleted the root service. I called my computer buddy, Jim. He couldn't even find it with some fancy AR jargon bot machine for recovery. I don't know.
Hey, Jim couldn't find it. If Jim can't find it,
we're screwed.
If Jim can't find it, it's gone.
oh my gosh. All right, let's go continue here just for another minute.
Even he was explaining it to me. He couldn't even find it, which is weird that a company that boasted an award-winning wine, the, quote, double gold winner in 2022 San Fran Chronicle competition with a corporate value of up to $5 million would just vanish into thin air? They didn't sell it? Is it possible for this to be a functioning business and have absolutely no footprint, wiped from the internet, go from 1,000 net worth to 5 million in less than a year?
Well, no other winery on earth's done that, Carl. If anybody knows anything about this, knows that.
So this guy goes on to talk about how the wine industry is actually contracting at this point, and to go from zero revenue to a $5 million valuation is pretty ridiculous. And there's one big actual really important part to all this, is that you actually need to be certified to have a winery.
Yes.
Those don't exist. Like that the people are like, what happened? So with all that said, there's a lot of like questions about this. Obviously, she's being propped up at this point. Oh, look at the bravery. She's a survivor now from all this. So who is this guy? This guy that sprayed her? And there's been a lot of talk. I don't know. Nobody knows
It's
about this
her
guy. Right?
husband/brother.
No, some people. Look. Depending on where you look, some people say this is a hardcore MAGA guy. Some people say it's a super hardcore lefty guy. They have pictures of his kids online. I don't want to show pictures of his kids, but they are totally them'd in the, like seriously, they use the he, they, she, they pronouns and all that stuff, and they're all like crazy haired and they look very theys. But this earlier says the neighbor of the suspect of the Ilhan Omar attack says he was medicated from a previous accident, says he sent a cryptic message before the incident. This guy's name's Anthony Kazmizak. I don't know. The neighbor said that he asked him if he could watch his dog while he went to Omar's event, which, by the way, if your neighbor tells you these things, you're probably like, you should probably call the police. He said, I'm going to this Omar thing. I'm like, what? He said, this town hall thing. I might get arrested. Like at that point, you probably should call the cops. I'm just saying, if your neighbor's going like, I think I'm going to get arrested here. He said, I figured it was nonsense. He wasn't going to do anything stupid. I said, sure, I'll walk her. But then the next day he said, don't worry about it. I got it covered. I figured he blew that off. Apparently he was medicated from a car crash where he injured his spine years ago. And he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. He's only 55. So this is the dude here that, and by the way, this is like video beforehand. They had video of this guy in the front row. And he does kind of look like just a big old oaf here. And this was it from behind. He kind of steps up.
You know what's weird though? He looks like Rob Schneider from Timon.
April! April! So he gets up and sprays it on her. And a lot of people are pointing out that she kind of actually looks directly at him to kind of cue it. This is, once again, this is just a theory that you're seeing out here. Watch, she kind of looks.
One angle.
Yeah, she kind of looks up at him right there. She kind of addresses him almost, looks up, and then he goes up and does it, right? And what's interesting is she doesn't like pop back.
She goes actually, to try to fight him, which is ironic.
Yeah. So
I don't know anybody who would go and fight someone who's about to, like, who has a bunch of stuff on them. You don't know what they have. It feels a bit stupid unless you know what's going on.
Ars, is this your first time seeing this?
It is.
What are your thoughts?
Corrupt politician.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I've just come to the conclusion that we just need to abolish the political class entirely. All of them. We're going to institute a system of forced politicization instead. You know how they do, like, send out calls to jury duty? You'll just get a post in the mail going like, no, you're going to be a politician for a year. You'll get no salary. You'll be fed by the government, just honey and milk, and that's all you'll eat for a year. And by the time you're done, you'll never want to engage with the government ever again.
I think there's something to what you're talking about here. Like, you're forced into leadership positions, right? You're like, congratulations. Or we just, I don't know. I'm not on board with any of this nonsense. Now, what's interesting here is the response here. We saw Hassan respond to this immediately. He says, Ilhan Omar has been in the crosshairs of the right for a decade. Trump constantly using dehumanizing rhetoric against her, as he did earlier in Iowa rally earlier today. He wanted this to happen. Which I found that statement very odd, considering Trump has literally been in the crosshairs twice and been shot.
I do want to point out there is a slight difference here. See, let's even assume that this guy is just a crazy far-right supporter. MAGA, like his house is plastered in Nazi imagery, wall to fucking wall. Our craziest extremist sprays water on Ilhan Omar. Their average supporter kills our politicians and representatives and political leaders and thought leaders and everything else. Yeah, I have a hard time really sympathizing, honestly.
I hear you on that. I mean, obviously, if anybody does any sort of assault, I think it's a bad thing. They should be arrested. They should be taken care of, right? I don't wish that on anybody. But as you said, somebody gets the hole through their neck and somebody else gets fart spray thrown on them. It just goes back to, I think there's some pretty big differences between the two quote unquote sides here. One does candlelight vigils. The other one burns down a business or burns down a city, so there we are. All right. Obviously we'll continue this. We'll continue talking about this. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's just convenience to me. That's all. It's just a matter of convenience. Oh, there's a lot of fraud happening, and the person who's at the center of all the fraud all of a sudden becomes a victim of fart spray. Well, now, if it was some sort of like legitimate toxic something, okay. If she got Batman over here by toxic spray on her face or whatever, dude, obviously that's ridiculous, and the person should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. But, we'll know more about this guy in the next few days. But I just think it's very ironic that somebody would say she's been in the crosshairs when there's literally been people in the crosshairs and executed because of that, not just 6 months ago. Let's go back to September 10th, with Charlie Kirk. That was just a few months ago, guys. And how quickly they are to become the victim again. It's amazing. So obey your digital overlords. Watch this video right here that YouTube suggested for you.